It's finally gotten cold out there. It's a new year. But also, it's time for the final episode of the 2016 season. It doesn't really make much sense since this is 2017 now. But this is episode number 12 of your favorite quarterly podcast, the Seasonal Anime Checkup. I'm your host, as always, Jared. And today, we're going to look back at the fall season of 2016, which is the final season in 2016 for anime. You know, it kind of goes into winter, but winter doesn't start till late December, so it's weird. All right. We're going to look back at one backlog show. And also today, we will go through the top 10 anime of 2016, which is something we started last year. So we'll see what joins the 2015 Best Anime Shirobako and goes into that high echelon as an award winner from your friends at the Seasonal Anime Checkup. So, welcome. Hello. Thanks for listening to previous episodes if you have on soundcloud.com/markoutdarkout, youtube.com, search for Seasonal Anime Checkup because I don't think I have a URL for that yet still. Search for it on iTunes or go to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool because that's a cool shorthand website URL. And also go ahead and, while you're on the website, go ahead and check out the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA, which is a supplemental podcast to this very podcast, where we talk about, shows in a broader sense, not like in the typical short form review that we do on this show, and just we talk about games on there as well. So there's a couple of episodes up on the site right now that you should go check out, and there are more episodes in the pipeline to come, so look forward to those. And as we move into talking about shows from fall, there will be spoilers, so if I do start talking about a show that you want to watch or you are currently watching, you might want to skip ahead just to avoid any potential spoilers. Not to say that there are spoilers in every single review, but, just in case. You want to be safe out there. It is the internet, after all. So let's just dive right in. We're going to talk about fall season first, and then I believe we will do Anime of the Year. Yep, Anime of the Year, and then we'll do the backlog, and then we will preview winter 2017. Sound good? Sounds good. First up on our docket is sports. There's a lot of sports anime this season, let's be real. There's technically 4 that we will be reviewing. There could be 5 if you want to count professional wrestling as a sport, which I know in reality, I don't know in the basis of anime how controversial it is, but like if you say professional wrestling is a sport in reality, people will get real uppity about that. So that's actually a good question. I wonder how weird people would get if you called the wrestling anime a sports anime, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Let's talk about All Out. Rugby is a sport I wasn't expecting to be turned into an anime anytime soon, but here we are with another addition to the genre. The show does a good job of trying to teach the viewer about the sport, since especially to American viewers like myself, rugby is not the most accessible sport. All Out is still kind of in that awkward phase of sports animes, where they have to establish a ton of characters and motivations, but is slowly phasing out of that as the season continues on and is starting to get more fun. This show as well might be the one show I have seen recently that features some JoJo-looking characters, and it actually fits, as a lot of the characters in All Out are ridiculous looking. Plus, they're very huge. Like, these are some big boys, and they're drawn so, which I'm sure, like, a certain subset of people would very much enjoy that. I didn't realize that the first 3 shows we talk about on this episode are all sports anime. Let's just keep the sports anime train rolling with Days. Days finally hit its stride in the second half of its first season. There were conflicts amongst the team, and a lot of the main characters were better fleshed out. The rise of Sakamoto has seemed a bit tropey with how quickly he has gone from never played soccer to this driving force behind the team, but it isn't to the point where you're actively rooting against him. The show does break for its season finale at a strange spot right before the finals of the tournament, which at least they confirmed a second season at the end to make that wait not seem intolerable with that break. I'm certainly looking forward to what comes next, which is better than how I was feeling coming off the first half of the season. We move from soccer to volleyball, with the shorter Season 3 of Haikyuu. Haikyuu has had a banner year with the latter half of Season 2 happening in the beginning of the year, and rounding out with the short but still stellar Season 3. Devoting an entire season to just one match seemed at first like it might not work, and could get stretched thin, but with the match featured against Shira Torizawa, it absolutely worked. Of course, there wasn't as much outside the gym content, but it wasn't really necessary given how much drama was wrapped up in this single game. And what a game it is! This season also reaffirms how much of a huge character Suki has become over Season 2 through Season 3. There were also bonus scenes that I do not remember from the manga sprinkled throughout, which also helped the pacing not be stretched. I would assume Haikyuu takes a significant break now, as they have crept up pretty quickly to where the manga is, and would need to take time off to not overtake it and have a bad situation arise. Regardless, Haikyuu continues to be excellent sports anime. I guess if we want to count shogi as a sport, there's 6 sports anime on this list. Let's talk about March Comes In Like a Lion. A show about shogi is not something I expected to have such dark undertones to, but here we are. Also, I'm still not sure exactly what shogi is. Japanese chess? Maybe? It seems similar. There are still a lot of unanswered questions as the show heads into the second half of the season. The drama between Rei and his sister, which seems very dark, bordering on some form of abuse, whether he'll find some form of interest in actually being a pro shogi player, and the relationship between him and the 3 sisters. It certainly is different from how the first episode seemed, where it was this good art and French music, but then it just hits you with all these dark undertones later on. I'm still not sure if this show is good yet or not, but it is intriguing to say the least. We finally take a good break from the sports anime rush with Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 2. Iron-Blooded Orphans has taken a similar approach to the first season, where it starts off very slow. I would go so far as to say the betrayal storyline that took up the first half went on far too long, and I can barely remember any of it despite watching it all. The latter half is where things finally picked up with the introduction of the Mobile Armor, an unmanned giant mobile suit that has one objective: the destruction of humanity. The way the weaponry in Iron-Blooded Orphans has been thus far, it made the impact of the Mobile Armor having beam weapons all the more impactful since nothing else has those, so everyone is like, oh f***. The fight between the Mobile Armor and Barbados seemed far too short, as the Mobile Armor has been built up as this unstoppable juggernaut and is just disposed of in not even an episode-long fight. That was disappointing, but Mikazuki has been injured even further to where he is paralyzed on his right side from fighting the Mobile Armor and disabling the limits on Barbados. There's also the story of Orga trying to become the King of Mars, but is not quite sure what his own motivations for doing so is, and is looking like he's going to leave Tekkadan down a dark path that he won't realize until it's too late. Poco's Udon World. If there was an award for best opening music, this show would win it in a landslide, as Weaver's SOS is one hell of a jam. Poco's Udon World is a very chill and sweet show about a guy who comes back home and adopts a tanuki who can transform into a human. There's a lot to the story about trying to come to terms with how things can be left unsaid in terms of relationships, as that is a common theme all the way to the final episode. Also, in trying to find yourself and finding something that you want to do that might not be the same thing that your parents wanted you to do. In essence, the show is a lot about trying to find yourself and do soul searching, all the while keeping hidden the fact that the kids you now have around you all the time is not exactly human. There's a true bond that forms between the two, and by the time the final episode comes and the two have to be separated, it certainly got very misty for me when I watched it. I certainly wasn't expecting a lot from the show initially, but man, it was well worth checking out. Highly recommend that show, actually. Considering, like, it seems like on paper it's like, this will be fine. But, like, each episode I was like, it was probably one of the few shows I was actually looking forward to watching each week. Speaking of shows I was looking forward to watching each week, let's talk about Season 2 of Sound Euphonium. Season 2 of Sound Euphonium brought the drama and then some. Poor Kumiko had to deal with so many problems throughout the show, but that by the end, when someone is like, hey, you look real tired, is everything okay? You can just imagine her going through the past 12 episodes in her head and wanting to scream. One of the biggest and best things Season 2 brought was that it finally fleshed out the questions about Asuka that were left from the first season. Asuka was my favorite character from Season 1, but there were parts of her that seemed strange. She was very charismatic, but when it came to making hard decisions, she was aloof and would not make those. Here in Season 2, she is forced to take a sabbatical from the band due to her mother's wishes, and lets Kumiko in on some of the things bothering her, namely the amount of pressure she is under by being the daughter of a famous euphonium player. There's a fantastic scene near the end of the season where Kumiko finally confronts her and basically calls her out on all the bullshit she's tried to pull, and it brings the two of them not only closer, but shows that Asuka can have weaknesses as well. Sound UFO 2 also furthered the relationship between Kumiko and Reina, but seems to be bordering on queerbaiting with how close, quote-unquote, they try to portray the two, but also having Reina still be hung up over their teacher. Sound UFO 2 was one of my favorite shows of the season, and even if this is the end, considering they did the thing where they said the name of the show in the final minutes of the finale, they did do that. It has been a great ride between the two seasons, but there could still be some story developments if they go for a third, namely the redemption angle of the band trying to get better than bronze at Nationals. Another one of my favorite shows, which is, man, this show is real goofy, Tiger Mask W. If you listen to me on other podcasts, you'll know I've been a fan of pro wrestling ever since I was a kid. Which, of course, means I can be pretty jaded about wrestling as well. But Tiger Mask W has been an absolute blast for me to watch. It is such a goofy look inside of pro wrestling with this mix of kayfabe, meaning protecting the business to not let people know it's scripted, and reality. The fake WWE, the global wrestling monopoly, is such a silly parody of WWE, being this global juggernaut that has crushed other wrestling territories. The collaboration with New Japan Pro Wrestling, the biggest wrestling company in Japan, is also real fun by the cameos from some of its top stars. Some of the in-ring action during the show is a bit wonky, given that it probably isn't easy to animate an actual wrestling match, and they couldn't necessarily throw an entire 20-minute match into one episode. My one gripe with the show might be the strange change to make what should be Black Tiger into Tiger the Dark, but other than that, I eagerly look forward to each episode and can't wait for what else is in store. Also, if you do get the chance, you should check out some of the real-life matches New Japan has done for the show during their pre-shows for some of their bigger events, especially since they have one of the best wrestlers in the world, Kota Ibushi, playing Tiger Mask W during those matches. Plus, there was a weird scene in that show where there's a wrestling reporter as one of the characters, and she was like talking about how like one of the things that is a problem with like modern day wrestling is how they're all spot monkeys, and that's like a valid criticism of actual wrestling in like 2016, 2017, and it just seemed crazy that this show went that way. I was like, wow. Oh man. Tiger Mask W is great though. Like, wow. It shouldn't be, but it is. We got two shows left, not 2 episodes left. Let's talk about www.working. I really like the original Working series, and I've said so on previous episodes of the show. The new series based on the webcomic is similarly good, but I think it has some of the same problems that the original had. Namely, that the first season is alright in setting everything up, but gets better later on in subsequent seasons. Though, with how quickly they were able to resolve a lot of the conflicts that popped up over the course of the season, I'm very curious to see if they do try and continue the story, or if this is just a one and done. I haven't read much of the manga. I did try, but when it was different characters, I was kind of bummed and stopped, so I'm not sure how far it goes or if it is still ongoing. I would certainly like to see more, as this is one of the few shows that does anime comedy well, but it brings forth the dichotomy of, well, what do they do next to further the plot? With the way the series has gone, though, I'd expect it to be done and worthwhile. And now for perhaps one of the more controversial animes and popular animes of 2016, let alone fall 2016, let's talk about Yuri on Ice. There are things Yuri on Ice does well. It's a great show in terms of same-sex relationship representation. It is a figure skating anime which there really isn't many of and has garnered support from some of the top skaters in the world. There's also a good angle of this being a show about a skater wanting to make a comeback. Yuri on Ice also has technical problems. The animation during skating routines can be very bad at times, which figure skating can look awkward in real life, but parts here just looked real strange. It was as if they were hand-drawing something from a motion capture session, and it didn't line up right. It's a shame, especially since other parts of the show can look great. Japanese Yuri's face at times is inconsistent with how it was drawn, and that last episode was pretty bad. I'm well aware that anime can be unbelievable at times, but to have Japanese Yuri go out and set a world record when he hadn't even won an event leading up to the Grand Prix finals is ridiculous. At the same time, when Russian Yuri is doing his final routine and basically being hypercritical of Japanese Yuri for wanting to retire following the Grand Prix finals, and essentially mentally telling him to go f*** himself, That was an amazing moment in that episode. Yuri on Ice has fallen into this bad spot, though, where if they do a second season, it's just going to feature unneeded and useless drama that has already been solved by this season. This was a show that kind of blew up, and it did blow up, which probably makes it somewhat controversial as people will be driven away by the fact that people were obsessive about this show. Looking at it critically, it was alright. There were better shows this season for sure, and I'm glad I watched it, but I don't think diving into a second season of this will be the best idea. I'm sure some people will hate that review, but, that's why it's my show, not yours. Let's talk about the best anime of 2016. Remember, the rules are as follows. If there's a show that started in 2015 and ends in 2016, it's eligible. If a show starts in 2016 and is going to finish in 2017, it's not eligible. Everything else in between is eligible. if it started in 2016 and finished in 2016. All right, we're gonna run down through the list. I'll probably make some brief comments about them. Nothing too wordy. Number 10, Flying Witch, very chill anime. Looked real good. I liked it. Number 9, Sekko Boys. That show was very ridiculous and funny. Number 8, Sweetness and Lightning. The sweetest show that possibly aired this season, and I hope they do more of that show. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff they can do from the manga, but they would probably have to wait quite a bit, I would say, because I don't think that manga's gone on that far. But I hope they do like a second season of that show. Number 7, Love Life Sunshine. Man, this show came out of nowhere. Like, I like original Love Live, but I don't know. I was not expecting Sunshine to be as good as it was, which it was real good. Number 6, Haikyuu Season 2 and 3. Haikyuu continues to be the upper echelon of sports anime, and both of those seasons just confirm that. Number 5, My Hero Academia. What a fun show this was. Just real fun action, which coincides with number 4, Mob Psycho 100. Coming from the creators of One Punch Man, you kind of have an idea of where the show's going to go, or like how the style's going to be, and it just fit with all the things you would think it would. Number 3, Sound Euphonium Season 2, which I don't know, maybe I'm just colored from the fact that this show just happened, but man, Sound Euphonium 2 was great this year. Number 2, Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. That show started off the year strong, and man, that show was real good. Like, I love period pieces. I love good drama. That show had both of it. Number 1, the best show of 2016, and quite possibly one of the greatest comedies in anime I've ever seen. Sakamoto Desu Ga. Have you heard I'm Sakamoto? Man. Each and every week, that show would just have me laughing constantly in just ways that I was not expecting. Just if there's like a formula for how to do comedy right, this show does it and has basically mastered that formula. It is so good. I cannot recommend it enough for people to watch. Like, it is, like I said, it might be the best comedy anime I've ever seen, and possibly just ever in general. Like, it's that good. The sad thing is, though, like, that's all we're ever going to get of that show, because that's the entire run of the manga as well. So that's the one bummer of it. But man, and I think that's also a credit to it, because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't get stretched out too thin. It's just like, here's everything, and we're done. That's it. So we have no movies to talk about, even though I guess I did watch Gundam Wing Ends Waltz and Sailor Moon S, the movie, which is the third movie, because they're Christmas movies. They totally count as Christmas movies, and they're both real good. But the backlog has a show. I did finally finish JoJo Part 2, that is Battle Tendencies, I think. Yeah. We'll go with that. I finally finished up Part 2 of JoJo, and man, am I glad I did. Holy cow, that finale is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen out of any form of television. It is just absolutely bonkers. The rest of the season, even though it's still season 1, does a much better job of establishing characters and story than Part 1, which helps since it's not like 10 episodes long. Plus, it helps that a lot of the characters in that part are much more interesting, especially Joseph, who is more fun than Jonathan. I need to find time to get back and continue watching Part 3 since I have only just begun that, but Man, JoJo is so fun. I can understand, though, why people wouldn't like it, as it is kind of incomprehensible at times, and the art can be a turnoff. But if you can bring yourself to enjoy some aspect of it, latch onto it, as there really isn't anything else like this out there. You know what we should do now? Let's preview winter 2017. There's a lot of shows coming to anime televisions at your behest. Let's quickly, if I can find it, let's take a look at some fall leftovers. We got March Comes In Like a Lion, All Out, Classicaloid, Gundam Iron Blood Orphans Season 2, Monster Hunter Stories Right On, Niambo, Sengoku Shoujo Giga, Tiger Mask W, Trickster, and Yasamura Yakashi no Yashashi Sekai. Those are all continuing into winter. But here's all your new stuff that you will be getting, and maybe now or in a few days. That's the good thing about the fall to winter break, is that there's actually like a good kind of break in between, and it helps when I can do this podcast. So it's not like, oh, half these shows are already out. Whoops. Let's begin with ACCA. ACCA. We'll go with ACCA. 13Q Kansatsu Ka from Madhouse Studios. Also, remember, I'm probably going to butcher half these words because my Japanese isn't great because I barely know any of it. The Kingdom of Dowa, whatever, which is subdivided into 13 states, is celebrating its monarch's 99th birthday. That's pretty old. These 13 states have many agencies that are controlled by the giant organization known as ACCA. Within ACCA, Jean Otis is the second in command of the inspection agency. His agency has 10 people placed in each of the 13 states, with a central office in the capital city. They keep track of all the activities of the ACCA across the kingdom and keep data on each state's ACCA office flowing toward the central office. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Jean also often has business trips from the capital to the other districts to check on the situation and personnel there. I'm not sure that gave any description of what that show really is. Akiba's Trip, the animation from Gonzo. Akihabara, a broad-minded neighborhood where everyone from beginners to masters are welcomed. Even when you're alone, if you go to Akiba, you'll find someone who understands you. It's a neighborhood where anything is possible, where anyone can do seemingly anything, a place where you can lay bare your body and soul. In this neighborhood of Akiba, which has everything including anime, games, maids, idols, secondhand parts, and cheap food, battles are fought against the Bagurimono, and a steadfast boy meets girl story begins. I would assume that has to be after like the first the game, which I think was like Akiba's Strip in Japan. I might watch that. I bought that game. I got like a little bit into it, but it just fell off the wayside because I started playing other stuff and kind of forgot about it. But I might check that out, just see like how it is as an adaptation. Owl No Exorcist Kyoto Fujiwo Hen from A1 Pictures. In the late Edo period, a demon known as the Impure King killed thousands of people. After defeating the demon, the Knights of the True Cross kept its left eye safely sealed away on academy grounds, but now someone has stolen it. Hearing the thief has taken a child hostage, Yukio and Ren go to help. The investigation and pursuit will lead Ren and his friends to Kyoto and involve them even deeper in a sinister plot. But will his friends' knowledge that Ren is the son of Satan drive a wedge between them? Seems like something that would drive a wedge in between people. Bang Dream from Zebek. A next-generation girls band project which links characters with real-life performances. Bang Dream is a media mix project featuring animation, music videos, blah, 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 blah. It's a music anime. I don't need your PR spill about that. Chain Chronicle, oh god. Heixites no Hikari from Telecom Animation Film. This is the story of the Chain Chronicle, a book that describes everything that happens in the world. The citizens of the remote continent of Igid once thought that there was nothing beyond their continent. The continent was divided into several regions, each with its own king. Though there were still small skirmishes amongst them, a lord chosen by the kings in conference always maintained balance until the evil Black Army arrived. The volunteer army led by Yuri was no match for the Black Army. During the fighting, the Lord of Black captures half of the Chain Chronicle as well as the capital. Chaos Child from Silver Link. In the original visual novel, after a magnitude 7.8 earthquake hits Tokyo's Shibuya ward on November 6, 2009, a black fire spreads and causes mass panic on the day of the earthquake. The sudden disaster that becomes known as the Shibuya earthquake kills 3,851 people and injures 30,927 more. The game is set in a reconstructed Shibuya district in October 2015. A string of mysterious deaths occurs in Shibuya amidst the reconstruction. People begin to take notice as the strange events start on the same day that chaos broke out in Shibuya with a certain incident 5 years earlier. The events are called the Return of the New Generation Madness. So Chaos Child is in the same technical universe, I guess, as Steins Gate. So I might check that out because I don't think that game has an English release coming out anytime soon. I could double check this right now. Yeah, as of now, it's all out in Japan because I see that game in the Japanese PSN store a lot because it's under the 18 plus store heading, which seems kind of weird, but you know, I'll check that out though just to see like what it is. I mean, I tried to check out Occultic Child or whatever that other show was, and I was just like, nope, after like 30 seconds of it. So Demi-chan wa Kataritai from A1 Pictures. Succubus, Dolahan, and Vampire. They are known as Ajin or Demis and are slightly different than the average human. They have lived alongside humans for ages under persecution. However, in recent years, they have become accepted as members of society. This manga follows a high school biology teacher who has a great interest in Demis and his interaction with the various Demis in his school, each with their own cute problems. Fuka from Dio Medea. The story centers on a young man named Yu Haruna who has just switched schools. He's a bit shy and he's constantly glued to his smartphone so he can check Twitter. He meets a girl named Fuka Akitsuki who doesn't even have a cell phone, is free-spirited, and naturally fascinates others. Yu recently has been getting back in touch via Twitter with his childhood friend Koyuki Hinashi, who is now a popular singer. One day, Yu invites Fuka to one of Koyuki's concerts, and the three meet for the first time. The story follows the love triangle between a love that started through electronics and a love that didn't start through electronics. So, I've read this manga. It's probably like one of my trash reads. Let's be real. I'm curious to see how they'll do this anime adaptation. I don't know if I'll stick through it to the end. Maybe I'll like check out a couple episodes and watch that finale, because that finale is going to be something. But yeah, there's going to be like a lot of unnecessary fan service in this show. I can guarantee you that. Gabriel Dropout from Doga Koba. The comedy follows Gabriel White, who graduated at the top of the class at Angel School and attends a human school on Earth in pursuit of knowledge, but then gets engrossed in a web game and decides it's too much trouble to go anywhere. Gintama, it's new season of Gintama. Handshakers from Go Hands. In Osaka in the year AD 20XX. That's how you know it's good, because they do that. Handshakers are partners who can summon Nimrods, weapons born from their deep psyche, but joining hands. In order to grant the pair's wish, the Handshakers compete with and fight other Handshaker pairs. The top pair will meet and challenge God. Idol Jihen. I think this is like, oh man, it's like Idol Incident or something. There's something about this I've heard about. This is from Mappa. The anime takes place in a parallel world Japan where idols stand up against a corrupt government as idol diet members and then want to bring back the smiles of the Japanese people through song and dance. The idol diet members belong to 7 different political parties, including the Heroine Party, the SOS Party, the Subculture New Party, the Bishojo Party, the Wakaba Party, the Starlight Party, and the Sanrai Party. Kimono Friends from Yarouzu. The anime story takes place in Japari Park, a gigantic integrated zoo. In the zoo, due to mysterious sand star substance, the animals start turning into human-shaped creatures called animal girls. Oh boy. Japari Park is a place where many people visit and have fun, but one day a lost child wanders into the park. The lost child starts a journey to return, but because so many animal girls join in on the quest, it becomes an unexpected grand adventure. Kobayashi-san Shino Maid Dragon from Kyoto Animation. Miss Kobayashi is your average office worker who lives a boring life, alone in her small apartment, until she saves the life of a female dragon in distress. The dragon, named Toru, has the ability to magically transform into an adorable human girl, albeit with horns and a long tail, who will do anything to pay off her debt of gratitude, whether Miss Kobayashi likes it or not. With a very persistent and amorous dragon as a roommate, nothing comes easy, and Miss Kobayashi's normal life is about to go off the deep end. Kono Subarashi Sekai ni Shukufuku Wo 2. It's the second season of that from Studio Dean. Kuzu no Honkai from Lurch. Hanabai and Mugi are bathed in envious gazers from all around as a beautiful couple with excellent moral conduct. But these two apparently perfect people in an apparently perfect relationship share a secret they can't tell anyone. Little Witch Academia is the TV series of that, which I think has like 2 movies, from Trigger. Marginal number 4, Kiss Kara Sukuru Big Bang from JC Staff. The anime follows the marginal number 4 idol unit who made their debut at Pythagoras production on February 13th. Sure. The members give their all for their fans and their idol activities, but they are also normal high school students. The anime will feature or follow both their everyday lives as high school students and their lives as idols. Masamune-kun no Revenge from Silverlink. As an overweight child, Makabe Masamune was mercilessly teased and bullied by one particular girl, Aragaki Aki. Determined to one day exact his revenge upon her, Makabe begins a rigorous regimen of self-improvement and personal transformation. Years later, Masamune reemerges as a new man, handsome, popular, with perfect grades, and good at sports. Masamune-kun transfers to Aki's school and is unrecognizable to her. Now Masamune-kun, who is ready to confront the girl who bullied him for so many years and humiliate her at last, but will revenge be as sweet as he thought? Minami Kamakura Koko Joshi Gentasha Bu from JC Staff. The story begins with Hiromi Maiharu, a girl who moved from Nagasaki to Kamakura. She begins her new life in Kamakura on her first day in high school by bicycling to her school, but she has not ridden a bicycle since she was young. On the way to the ceremony for the first day, she meets Tomoe Akatsuki, and Tomoe helps her train to be better at bicycling. Onahe from Studio M2. The historical novel series depicts Heizo Hasegawa, who meets justice on wrongdoers and supervises the crackdown on arsonists and robbers in Japan's Edo period, 1603 to 1868. It's your period piece for the season. Reikanzan Hii no Shikaku from Studio Dean, second season of that. Rewrite, second season of that from 8-Bit. Schoolgirl Strikers, animation channel? It's a weird name for a show from JC Staff. It is an adaptation of Square Enix smartphone light novel series, or not light novel style RPG app, Schoolgirl Strikers. The game is set in Goryokon Academy, a new private senior-junior high school for girls with a vast downtown campus. This highly popular school has another face, a secret hidden side. It organizes and trains the secret unit 5th Force to protect the world from invisible supernatural entities known as Oberi. They're devouring the world. A team of 5 trained with powers against the Oberi is to be chosen from the student body to perform missions. A new team leader has been appointed to assemble that's totally a typo there. To assemble the 5 students. Not assemble. Seiren from Studio Gokubi. Shoichi Kamita is an ordinary high school boy who is faced with university entrance exams and worries about his future. The campus romantic comedy Seiren means honest in Japanese, thanks, depicts his pure relationship with 3 different heroines. Each story is the unique and mutual memory between him and the heroine. That sounds like a visual novel. Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju Sukuroko Futabai Hin from Studio Dean, second season of Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, the number 2 best anime of 2016. Will it hold its top spot in 2017? We will soon find out. Spirit Pact from Emon. Heir of an old famous family of an exorcist, Keiko Yo is stricken by poverty after losing his parents. He struggles as a street fortune teller and computer recovery part-timer to earn money. One night in a junkyard, he meets the mysterious yet charismatic exorcist Kai Tanmako fighting an evil spirit. This encounter is the beginning of a fated story for Keiko Yo. Unfortunately for him, he was actually hit by a car and became a ghost. That was when the handsome exorcist Kai appeared and asked Keika to make a pact with him to fight evil spirits together. Here starts the friendship of our heroes. Super Lovers 2 from Studio Dean is the second season of that. Tales of Zestiria, The Cross 2, second season of that. Urara Meiro Show from JC Staff. The story is set in Meiro Show, a town where all female diviners, Uranaishi, live in, where girls from all over the country yearn to become the top diviner, Urara. Today, a solitary girl named Chia enters the town's gates. However, she has another purpose coming here, besides becoming the Urara. Chia's days as apprentice diviner begin as she meets 3 friends, the earnest Khan, Kome, who is a friend of Western culture, and the shy No-No. Yoju Isenki from Nut. That's the studio name. The novel series centers on a young girl who fights in the front lines in war. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and nearly transparent white skin, and she flies through the air and mercilessly strikes down her opponents. Her name is Tanya Degger Schaff, and she speaks to the young girl's lisp and commands the army. Tanya used to be one of Japan's elite office workers, but because of a wrathful god who was reborn as a little girl, Tanya prioritized optimization and career advancement above all, and she will become the most dangerous entity among the Imperial Army's sorcerers. Yowamushi Pedal New Generation is the third season of that. And finally, Eld Live from Studio Pro. Chuta Kokonose is an orphan who lives with his aunt. For as long as he can remember, he's had a voice in his head, but other than that, he's a normal boy. Right until the day when a strangely looking thing follows him home and teleports him to a place filled with more fantastic creatures. It's a space police station, and Rayan Brique, the chief of Solar System Department, tells him that he's been chosen by the computer as a possible candidate to join the police force. Although Misuzu Sonokata, a girl from Chuta's school with an angelic face and ill temper who turns out to be one of Rayan Brique's subordinates, doesn't think him suitable for such a job. Chuta, who was shocked at first, decides to take an aptitude test after being urged by the voice in his head, and to prove Misuzu wrong. That's all the big shows in Winter 2017. Let's take a look at the shorts that will also be occurring. We got Chirurin Nubun no Ichai? Oh god. Chobara Yona Yopome Gekujo Dai Nai Maku Ai Mai Mi Surgical Friends. That's a mouthful. Holy cow. Nyanko Days. One Room. P.I.S. Watashi no Italian. It's literally about working in an Italian restaurant, so that works. Sentai Heroes Sukiyaki Force and Yami Shabai 4. Movies. There's a fourth Digimon Adventure Tri movie. Let's see. There's a Kizo Monogatari movie. Kuroko no Basket movie. Lupin the Third movie. Sword Art Online movie. And that's the ones I recognize. And then there's a few OVAs and specials. There's the Koro Sensei Q special that's already ongoing. There is a second season of Nanbaka. That's about it from stuff I recognize. Let's take a brief glance into spring 2017 since there's not a lot technically known, I guess, of what's in spring right now for some reason. Currently, Attack on Titan Season 2 is supposed to air along with My Hero Academia Season 2, which, man, that's a 1-2 punch right there. Like, holy cow. Other than that, I think there was something else that I saw. Like, I want to say there was a Season 2 of Berserk. Oh, the sequel to Naruto, Boruto, will apparently air then. I feel like some of these you might have to take with a grain of salt because I'm not 100% sure if they're actually legit or not, which is kind of a bad sign. Yeah, Berserk is also supposed to start Season 2 there. And I think that might be it. That looks like it's it. Yeah, we'll just go with it. That's totally it. So that's going to do it for this episode number 12 of the Seasonal Anime Checkup. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed some of the reviews for fall 2016, the top 10 animes of 2016 as well. Hopefully you found something out of the winter 2017 preview that you'll want to watch. I probably did, obviously, because I'll have to talk about them in a few months. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Go check out other stuff on the website, seasonalanimecheckup.com, sac.cool. If you want to get involved in this, you can hit up the contact form on the website or email jared@seasonalanimecheckup.com. Go check out some of the other episodes of this podcast if you want. There's other content on the website that's real good. There's a top 10 games of 2016 up there. There's probably going to be some other stuff that I haven't written yet. As to this recording, that'll be up there pretty soon. So hopefully you like that and check it out and recommend it to some people you know or something like that. Whatevs. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in a few months for when we talk about winter 2017 and preview spring 2017. Preview spring 2017. Preview spring 2017. Preview spring 2017. Preview spring 2017.